Yeah, I'm really pleased to come before you tonight and just kind of talk about where we are in the city of Jasper. We've made a lot of changes over the past year. Um, Many of them a consequence of things that have been initiated in years prior. I'm happy with the momentum we have and the momentum that's been carried forward. I'm also happy with the way the city has gotten behind our projects, those things that we continue to see as fundamental. But you'll see that the majority of the projects that we had underway were focused around infrastructure. Uh, that's been the case with our prioritization of projects. Infrastructure is always raised to the top of that prioritization list, and I think out of the top 20, maybe there were 12 or 13 projects that were infrastructure projects. So that continued to be the same way. Uh, Jasper is the county seat. And as that, as a role as the county seat, we have an obligation to be there for the rest of the county, all the rest of the communities. We're a hub. We're a hub of activity, of employment, of healthcare, of entertainment, you name it. We are a hub within this region. And I just want to emphasize that, we as a city exist not just because of the boundaries that exist around the city of Jasper, but because of all of those other communities that are a part of us. And that's a responsibility I think we assume and embrace, and we will continue to work in a collaborative effort across all those municipalities, all those towns and county organizations in order to move us forward. When the county moves forward, the city moves forward. When the city moves forward, the county moves forward. I just think it is the only way that we can really get things accomplished anymore is in a collaborative mode. Forgot I was in charge of this. All right, Lisa, I might need you. I think I went too far. Oh, I got it now. There. This is the handoff is one of the toughest things I had. So I'm gonna ask Kirsten to come up and speak a little bit to the financials.
The City of Jasper operates with a typical local government structure that includes funds supported by revenue sources such as property taxes, income taxes, and other local fees. The city generates income primarily from property taxes, local income tax, utility fees, and state and federal grants. Like most cities, Jasper's financial priorities include funding for public services, infrastructure, and community development. Major spending areas include police, fire, roads, utilities, and parks. Jasper has worked hard to keep our debt limit low. Our current obligations include the Cultural Center lease, the River Center lease, general obligation bonds, an outdoor pool bond, and the University Heights conditional expenditure agreement. In 2024, general fund expenses totaled just over $12 million, and park fund expenses totaled $4.8 million. Additionally, we used roughly $500,000 of ARPA funds and $2.7 million of edit funds to help supplement our budget. We did not spend any money from our rainy day fund. 2025 projections leave us with an unencumbered general fund balance of $5.6 million, a park and rec fund balance of $2.3 million, and an edit balance of $6.2 million. We do anticipate appropriating $2.5 million of edit funds towards the Regional Wellness Center in 2025. The remainder of our ARPA funds and HELP funds will be spent in 2025, leaving a zero balance, and our rainy day fund balance will total $2.3 million. One fund that did not make the list up there was the food and beverage tax collection. In the past 11 months, we have collected approximately $519,000, surpassing the $495,000 that was originally predicted, with one more month to go for the year.
We also got started off a little
We did
slow.
start off slow too, yes. The city continues to operate a balanced budget to ensure we can meet our obligations, maintain services, and invest in long-term growth. Guys have any questions about that?
Very healthy balance sheet.
Thanks, Kirsten. And nobody can speak to it better than our clerk treasurer. Obviously, I can't hold up to what she does there. All right, I went back the wrong way. There we go. So within the city, this is our employment look at the current time. And this is actually less than we had last year at this time. Last year, we had 350 employees. The majority of those, though, were seasonal employees that were park-related, specifically the swimming pool. You know, we did employ some of those individuals to work in other areas within the organization, but for the most part, that's the big gap, the big change from 350 we had last year to 320. The total number of full-time employees really didn't change much. I don't know if it changed at all, to tell you the truth. And part-time has been relatively stable over the period of time. It's a pretty good mix. Police department would be a little bit down during the year, but we have made some recent hires. We've just got 3 new employees coming on board, and you'll see a little bit more about that later. The N-Sharp certification, safety is always important to us, and we're proud of the fact that over the course of the years, we've been able to keep this certification. We're the only city in the state of Indiana that maintains this N-Sharp certification. And that's requires many audits, both internal audits and external. So we're proud of that. Number of hours worked, you see, and the average age of employees at 46. That may be coming down just a little bit with all the retirements that we've had and the new hires. And the average years of service. There's another number here that I think is worth telling. Over the course of the last year, we had 14 new employees. And when you look at 180-something employees and think about that, your turnover rate is a single digit. That's unheard of in today's world. We create a good environment with good leadership, safe. They're going to come home every day, at least knock on wood, because of their safe practices. And I think that means a lot. So the average years of service, that's probably coming down as well. When your average age goes down, so will your average age of years of service. This is really sensitive, so I can't scroll too well. But the planning department, a point that I wanted to make on this slide is that there were 46 new residential units that we had permits for this past year. And it's been said in many meetings, we've all heard this, that we have to average well over 100 a year, really, is what our need is. As a county, it's much more than that. The housing studies continue to indicate that we have a shortage, and we're trying to do what we can to increase the number of units across the city and the county in order to meet the needs of our local industries. We did receive a $5 million READY grant to go toward the Regional Wellness Center, one of our bigger projects that we will ever entertain, at least to date. We've had nice annexation there with the Northridge area. It's 110 acres, so we're looking at some development there, and we'll talk a little bit about that later on this evening. And we did move from a part-time permitting specialist within the planning development department to a full-time permitting specialist because it was just becoming too much of a task for that part-time to get out and to actually audit and see if people are following up. I think that's worked out real well. it scrolled just a second ago, but now I'm not. I might use the arrows. It's stuck. My technical assistant is here. Yeah, if you would. Yeah, thank you.
I think that's like good.
The next slide, talking about some of the things that we have worked on. Our engineering group's been busy with internal projects, but I want to point out there's some new stuff that we're using technology to apply to existing departments. Specifically, I'd like to refer to the JFD response runs dashboard. And they were able to map this on GIS so that we could see where the responses are going to and be able to anticipate maybe where resources are needed. So let's go to the next. The Park and Rec Department, of course, this is the Whitey Schrader practice facility, and that was brand new. And we opened it up in April. Weather conditions weren't that great, but it was utilized the entire summer and fall. It's been a great facility. Lots of people comment about it. It's really been a nice addition to our golf program, especially for youth and those that want to get into it. They don't have to go out on a golf course and learn on the golf course. They can actually learn on the driving range and be good for people like me as well. The driving range itself brought in some money this year, and it far exceeded what we anticipated. I think we figured our break even on it was going to be like $45,000 just to break even on the 65,000. Oh. So, from there, it exceeded that. It brought our total revenue up to almost $1 million in the golfing world. So really, really happy with that. And then we did some improvements on the back nine, specifically the number 10 fairway. And there we did some sod replacement. We moved some sod there over to the soccer fields and then replaced this with some soja sod. So doing all that internally. Next, Beeler Park. That was a great project. It's been completed. Park Department built a new facility as far as took down the old shelter house, added a restroom facility there, added a walking track and some pickleball courts. It's just a great facility now for families. The Parklands, this award that we received at Friends of the Conservation from Du Bois County Soil and Water District was for the controlled burn we did this year. And that was part of managing that entire property. It was prescribed. And we should see a lot of wildflowers in the spring again. So a lot of things going on there. The Parklands wetland certification, we've been at that for 3 years with the inspections, and we did receive that certification this year. So we're very happy with that. Okay. Rookser Clubhouse, if you will, became busy because with the pool construction underway, we added some new summer activities over there. Took advantage of an existing facility, remodeled it, and it is now a rentable facility. A lot of things planned to go onto that park area, and it felt good with the leadership that's been provided there with Janessa and the group. In the Hobbick Center, I think our record before was about 26,000 people, and now we're at 30,000 plus that have been in the Hobbick Center and using that facility. Part of that is because we had gone to an expanded hours. It's not just 8 to 4. You know, we've got some programming that's taking place later on in the day, evenings, and when people can attend, they can't attend during the day, but they'd like to attend during the evenings. So it really has made a difference as far as accessibility during the hours open. Pooch's Playgrounds, they keep adding amenities to that, and I guess we had our first cornhole league this year, so down at Dave Beeler Plaza. Those concrete cornhole boards are working out pretty well. The facilities of the mill, depot, Alexander Schoolhouse, and Schaefer Barn are really overseen by one individual. And that individual is there to open it, to give tours, and is doing just a wonderful job. Over 16,000 people came through and visited those facilities. We see that growing as she's reaching out now to schools and bringing in school tours. You also see that we started the replacements of the bridges. We're doing one a year as the plan because those bridges are aged and they need to be updated. And then the City Mill deck was a very expensive fix for the park department, but you know now it's concrete and it should last us a good number of years rather than the old wood. The Youth Leadership Council, I could spend all night talking about this group. We've got 26 members. The current work that they're doing is on a new sand volleyball court at Beeler Park. It's something the park department wanted to see. And they have coordinated with the park department on the last several projects. It's not something they're just coming up with. I think they go to Tom. Tom's got some ideas and things that they had in their plans. And when the youth pick this up, they're pretty excited about it, and they go after it. So this spring, you're going to see a lot of work out of Beeler Park to get that sand volleyball court in. And they do a lot of other volunteer and fundraising. Jasper Fire, and I do, before I leave that, I wanted to say thank you to Lisa because she is the leader of that group. And they meet quite frequently early in the morning, well before normal start time. So it's a sacrifice to get there and lead that group almost every Wednesday morning. So thank you, Lisa.
Thank you, Lisa.
The Jasper Fire Department, 506 calls. Out of that, there's a lot of those that have been lift assist. EMS calls, if you will. And it's still a problem for us, hasn't subsided at all. As long as the individuals don't go to get medical care, they're not charged for it. So they don't have to pay for the run. And so it has become a burden on our fire department and funding, and it has been for quite a while. We're not unique to that. That's true across the state, throughout the county as well. Got new radios in. The Lucas devices. All right, talk about a great investment. This is funded by our Leadership Academy, and they put Lucas devices in all of the fire departments across the county, put one in. We also funded one, as well as we had a donor for another. So we have 3 of them in the city of Jasper. With those 3 Lucas devices, we've had 5 saves. So what a great investment. You've saved 5 lives with that. And then
And for the people in the crowd, Mayor, that don't know, hear Lucas device on there, but it is an electronic chest compression. So when you have to go and administer CPR, rather than having a firefighter there and that gets tired or strokes
That's
are
right.
different, it's automatic machine.
Yep.
Fantastic.
Yeah, first time I saw one of those, I thought, how ingenious, you know. I didn't think of it. I got a feeling the sales of those things are going to continue to go up as you get evidence of the number of saves. We are moving forward now. We're doing our specifications for a new tower truck. And it's a $2.1 million investment. We've been working on that for quite a while, so we hope this year to be able to place that order. And we did have 3 firefighters from the past that passed away in 2024. You see Mike Shaw, Terry Tanner, and Ed Eckert. 3 notable long-term firefighters. So I mentioned earlier the GIS and the call map. And so this is what it looks like. You can see that EMS is in blue and the fire is in red, I think. So you can see how it's concentrated. The fire is pretty much distributed, but the EMS, you see a high concentration in certain areas in the community. But with this data now, the fire department's able to do some analysis on response time and make sure that we can get to certain areas where you see that frequency. I think it's a great move. Jeff Warren over in our engineering department does a wonderful job of listening to the needs and then building it into the system. And Jeff, I give Jeff credit for this. Next. We did have Chief Schmidt retire this year, at the end of the year, and we promoted 2 internal people earlier this year, Lieutenant David Berger and Sergeant Ben Canese. Since the end of the year, we did hire Chief Chad Dick, and then we have 3 new officers coming on board, Joshua Pretty, Alec Wallace, and Derek Sutton. And through February, the end of February, early March, I think is when their start dates are.
Mayor, do those 3 new officers have to go to police academy?
One of them is going to police academy here in the next week or so. And then the other 2 are seasoned officers. They're going to have to go through a different type of orientation training to Indiana law.
Okay,
And so it's a little bit different, not the full academy.
thank you.
Swore one in last night, had a really nice crowd, really nice outpouring from the department show up for it, so it was great.
You can see the number of arrests, the calls for service, and various items that they report. They report these to the Board of Public Works on a monthly basis. Okay. Utilities, this is an area that I think we should always take note of as an asset to the city of Jasper. You talk to other communities that are relying on independent service, you know, whether it's electric service or water or gas. Our rates are very competitive. And we're able to do that because of the relationships we have and the negotiations that take place. We have a focus on utilities and providing utilities to the city. Unfortunately, the way some of the laws have been written on territories, we don't get to cover every resident of the city. But where we do, our rates are very competitive. I know in southern Indiana, we're one of the lowest rates for every service out there. Also, something we're proud of every year, we make note of this, is that bad debt write-off. That is like 0.00101%, and it's just what a great tribute to a group of people that manage, work with our customers to make payments if they get behind, and able to collect in the long term. So really happy with that. The next one is the wastewater plant. We treated 877 million gallons of wastewater. Start thinking about that. That's a lot of wastewater. And this year, if you go to the next one, we'll some of the bigger projects was replacing the two secondary clarifier mechanisms and carriage assembly down there in the plant. But then we're working on a new north side wastewater plant. And that planning has been underway. It's part of the regional sewer district solution to handling sewage in the Hayesville and Portersville communities, as well as any growth that we'll have on the north side of town. Next one. The water plant. Now remember, I talked about number of gallons of wastewater. The number of gallons of water is considerably less. So 676 million gallons of water was treated within the city of Jasper. The 46 main breaks, when Rob Young came on board as the new general manager, we talked about the number of breaks that we had in our system, and it's been a focus of his to get to the root cause. He's doing some analysis, working with outside companies to help us to collect data so that we can get in front of this, because service levels are pretty important and the quality of the water is extremely important in any community. So this is an area we never want to fail in. And if we do have challenges, we want to work through those challenges quickly. So I appreciate the fact that I think we're going to be taking a much more proactive approach to the quality of water and finding out what needs to be done to prevent those breaks. Sometimes you can't prevent it, but if we can, if we know what the root cause is, we're going to deal with that. Jasper Gas Department, they've been replacing their meters. AMI implementation's been a big focus of theirs. Again, there's been new gas mains. There hasn't been that many gas lines replaced over the course of the year, but the gas department this time of the year is always susceptible to the market demands. If you remember, the last few years we've had those situations. So, well done. The electric department next, Stan Seifert. Stan took over when Jerry Sheeter. Jerry Sheeter. I was going to say Shirley. Jerry Sheeter retired and has been playing two roles: Jerry's role as well as Stan's original. And over the course of the year, I mean, it's been recognized by his peers as well. He received this Kerry Vincent Award through IMPA. And, Kerry Vincent was a longtime employee of IMPA. He was an advocate for public power and just a friend to so many in the power industry. And he had passed away in 2021. So this line worker award, Distinguished Line Worker Award, was provided to Stan at, I think it was in a meeting in November, if I recall right. And I think it's notable because Stan is a guy that will give it all. And he's the leader of that entire department and does a great job. They are 95% complete in installing all of their AMI meters. So they're just about done. The arts department, next, this coming year is their 50th anniversary. So it's a special year for them. And they're doing a lot of programming, planning to celebrate that. But this past year, they did quite an emphasis on bringing the arts to more educational facilities, to do that youth outreach. They've done more programming within the studios. And so we're starting to activate that arts center at a level that we can be proud of. There you're seeing there's over 7,000 visitors to the galleries over the past year. And I think that's going to continue to increase. And then next, this always kind of raises your eyebrows a little bit, but, you know, community crossings is something we rely on heavily. That is now becoming a factor in future funding, is that they are requiring communities to implement a excise tax on vehicles, or you don't qualify for this one-to-one match, 50-50 match. So that's a thing we're looking, changes in the future, things that are being handed down to us as things we need to consider. But we certainly don't want to lose this community crossing grant funding, because we're getting twice as much road done as we had in the past. They're always working on storm drains and the challenges we see. I think we talked about it today. There's storm sewer where you end up with other utility lines running through it. How that happens, we don't know, but it happens. We have a lot going on. Street Department has over 116 miles of roads to take care of, and as proven in the last couple of weeks, they do a great job of keeping our roads clean and passable. They want to keep the economy running. So this slide says a lot about it. Trash, rubbish. We are known as a clean community, and picking up rubbish is a big factor when it comes to that. Picking up leaves, the street sweepings. I don't know of any community that sweep their streets as often as we do. So we've got nice, clean streets, and it's notable for those residents and visitors here in town. Jeff was not shooting for a goal of 100 dogs, but he came close. Street Department also picks up these strays and then takes them back, and if they have a chip reader, they can find out who the owner is in most cases. A lot of them are repeats, but if not, then as indicated here, 16 of those dogs were sent on to the Du Bois County Humane Society. And the next. This is the Jasper Insight that we just talked about a little bit earlier. This is our notification system. Lets you know if you got a boil water notification in your neighborhood, or if there's a storm issue in the neighborhood where a tree's down. This is where you can go to get notifications that impact you locally. Many of us sign up for emergency notifications that may be out of Evansville or out of Louisville. But this is a Jasper notification system. It just today, I think we posted that trash pickup was going to be tomorrow. We're going to be running a double crew because of the cold. So if you want to find out what's going on, this will keep you up to date. And it's good, not just for residents, but let's say you've got an elderly family member that lives here and you live in Austin, Texas, as a result. And you can stay up to date as to what's going on here in town, or if there's a need to follow up with your family members. And I think that's pretty important in today's world. But there's a lot going on. I just touched on a few things here, some of the similar common reporting we've done in the past. In general, I would say that we've addressed a lot of the challenges well that we've had over the past year, and we've got many challenges before us. And together we can make things happen. And I think that's what Jasper's known for, is making things happen, getting things done. So thank you for your time.
Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you.